الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Last night we spoke about one of the ayats from Surah Al-Baqarah in the first juz. Inshallah, tonight we will read the second half of Surah Al-Baqarah and we will complete the entirety of it and read just a few ayat from Surah Ali Imran as well. And I mentioned last night that the theme and in the beginning of Al-Baqarah is about Iman and faith and how people keep their faith, how they lose their faith. And we took an example about some of the Jews of Banu Israel, what led them to lose their faith. Now, if you move on towards this part of Surah Al-Baqarah, the discussion seems to be completely different. And if you really, it's really a beautiful read because at the beginning it looks like it's random verses. And they're all, majority of them are ahkam related, they're rulings. So, rulings related to fasting, rulings related to qisas and retribution, if you were to kill someone or to harm someone, rulings related to i'tikaf, rulings related to hajj, rulings related to money matters. That'll be at the very end of Baqarah. The end of Baqarah is all money matters, finances, sadaqah, all of that stuff. But the important thing to see here is that when we think of rulings, we only think about ibadat and worship. Salah, Sawm, Zakah, Hajj, that's it. But in between all of this is also money, and in between all of this is also family, marriage and divorce. A huge part of it, the majority is either money or marriage and divorce. Equal in number to the ayat of fasting, or actually much more than the ayat of fasting or the ayat of Hajj. And that should give us some perspective. That part of worship is also our family lives, how we deal with money. It's also part of worship. And so out of all of these ayats, I'll just share with you one ayat, 233 onwards, where Allah Azza wa Jal talks about divorce. And He says, "At-talaqu marratan." Divorce is twice, meaning you can give divorce twice. You've given divorce, then you take back, or depending on the type of divorce, there's a new nikah that you do. You're married to this person for a second time. Third time you do it, then it's up. You can no longer marry this person. Now, this seems like very ordinary, basic fiqh that you'd ask anyone you'd understand, but there's a beautiful story behind it. Aisha radiallahu anha says, this ruling that divorce is only 3 times. You can't just keep giving divorce and taking back. It doesn't work like that. This was revolutionary. Why? Because what used to happen, as Imam al-Tabari and others report from Aisha radiallahu anha, that there was no limit on how many times you could divorce your partner. So people would divorce for, say, 1,000 times, literally. A person could say that in jest, jokingly, and it'd be perfectly fine. And actually, a man, he tried to abuse this because he told his wife, and he said, listen, Wallahi la utalliquki. وَلَا آوِيكِ. I'm not going to divorce you, and I'm not going to keep you either. And she said, how is that? He said, well, look, I'll divorce you, and when you're iddah, when the waiting period is about to be over, because by default, in the old Arab culture, immediately the husband could take back the wife. Okay, it happened once, it happened twice, thrice, 4, 5, unlimited. So I'll just keep doing that. Just to mess with you, just to abuse you mentally. So this woman, she was so distraught, and she came to the messenger, she came to Aisha radiallahu anha, and she said, this is what's going on, this is what my husband is doing with me. And so Aisha radiallahu anha, she waited for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come, and she told the Messenger of Allah, this woman is here, this is what she's experiencing. And so this ayah came down to stop this pattern of abuse and to set forth a limit. There's only 3 times because if you can't get it right in 3 times, if there are problems that are occurring, then guess what? It's best that you part ways. And that door that was being used to abuse, that endless door, it was a hard number that was put. So now you're going to really think before I give divorce. It's not unlimited. I really have to think, is this worthwhile? Am I ready to do this? I can't just do it in jest. So that is one part of it. But going on in the ayah, you notice that it's not just the rulings, and that's the beauty of the Quran. There's the rules, and there's also practical advice and wisdom. So, okay, things are not working out. Time for divorce. What do? Twice it's happened. فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Make up your mind. Either live honorably with this person, fix and sort out your issues, or تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ, or leave honorably. Don't keep each other in this cycle of abuse, where literally if you stay in a horrible manner, being nasty to one another, and if you leave, you become enemies for life. Don't do that. If you want to stay, imsakum bima'ruf, stay honorably. And if you want to leave, if this is the end of it, then even then leave honorably. Now pay attention to the words. There's two words here. There is ma'ruf and ihsan. If you want to stay, stay in ma'ruf. Ma'ruf is something that's good, it's well known. Okay? Ihsan is like the highest level, perfection. You have good and greater. This is perfection. If you want to leave, you better be good. You better be honorable, because why? It's very hard to be honorable when you have to divorce. It's very difficult. Very few people can do that. Otherwise, you'll be nasty even after the dispute has settled. You'll be nasty and try to look out how you can harm this person. So practical advice being given for the sake of the family unit being strong. And if it's not going to work, then live honorably, separately, leave each other, but honorably. What if a person doesn't do that? In the next ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions that again. وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا لِتَعْتَدُوا. Look, if you think that you're going to take back and you're going to say, okay, I'll stay in this marriage, I don't want a divorce, but then you're going to make life miserable for your partner, وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. Don't think Allah doesn't know. If you do that, you think you're wronging this person, your spouse. In reality, you are wronging yourself. You'll have to stand in front of Allah. And every time you wrong your spouse, it piles up and it adds on. And pay attention here that it's men that's being spoken to, but it's not exclusive to men. This was the general theme in that society, in the old Arab society. It could be women as well. A woman could be an abuser, or the man could be an abuser. For both, the same ruling applies. And then he ends it off by saying, subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا. Do not take Allah's verses in jest. Don't make a mockery of them. What does that mean? That means that you could say, well, technically, no, I was okay. I let them go. I was okay in the divorce proceedings. But then behind the scenes, you're spreading gossip. You're spreading rumor. You are engaged in harming that person. Maybe you want to harm their job. Maybe you want to harm their reputation in society. Or maybe you're going to stay and be like, oh, look, I'm very honorable. I want to preserve my family. I want to stay in this marriage. But then you make a mockery and you make life miserable for everyone in your house. Don't make a mockery of Allah's verses. Allah knows your intentions. If you want to stay and if you're able to stay, then well and good. Be honorable. But if you have to leave and depart, also be honorable. It'll save us a lot of heartache. It'll save us a lot of negativity. But most importantly, it's what Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to see us in our lives, especially in our marriages. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make us from those that uphold these values in our marriages. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.